It's that time of week. It's Thursday. That means we get to sit and talk a little NFL. There's so many storylines going on right now in the NFL. Mike Garofolo is with us.
Don't say that.
Brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance, family-owned, second-generation independent insurance agency that's been serving the Puget Sound area since 1978. They promise honesty, fairness, integrity. Contact Jamie Hartley when he's not playing golf. Garafolo's playing golf today. 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island. Great place to watch the game, grab a cold beer, hang out with friends. Zogs on Fox Island. We talk to Garafolo every Thursday. We are inside the Puck Sports Studios, built by Limback Lumber, family-owned and operated in the Northwest since 1930. Premier supplier of specialized lumber and moldings. Summer deck and fence season is here. Get started with your next project at Limback Lumber. Visit limbacklumber.com or give them a call at 206-782-3487. The Puck Sports Studios built by Limback Lumber. Well, I mean, it's a slow season for the NFL. It's not
which makes it a busy season for at home. Here you go. I'm giving the thumbs up, and it's doing that thumbs up thing again.
I love the thumbs up.
But I was going to count. We got insurance. We got a bar. We got a lumber guy. I need an exterminator, okay? Because today's crisis is we've got a wasp nest we've got like these pilings that hold up the house because we're in a flood zone, so we got to be elevated. And where the piling meets the siding, there's little gaps, and they're coming in and out of there every couple of minutes.
Go buy the spray.
Right, but can you get to the nest? Because I had one. Before we renovated our house, the attic, the vents were open, so I put screens on both vents just to stop anything from coming in. And they built a nest between the screen and the vent, and so you could see it from the attic. What is happening here? Now I got hearts going?
You got heart emojis going on the video. Listener, watch the video.
Do you get this one?
Do you have this?
Come on here.
What do you call that, by the way?
You don't call it anything. You just it's just come on. It's an Italian thing.
Start. What's the origin of the Italian?
Start?
The thumb to the middle finger and index. You know when you talk.
It didn't start with Tommy DeVito. It didn't start with Tommy DeVito. I'll tell you that much. How did it start? It goes back to the old country. I don't know why it was just an Italian thing or whatever. I mean, listen, you got different things in different countries. You know. The whistle instead of boo with the soccer stuff, which is still weird to me, but stuff happens. Anyway,
I kind of like that though. I like the whistling.
So in the old house when I had the screen between me and so I was like John Goodman in Arachnophobia there, man. I was spraying that thing because I knew they weren't going to get to me. I had the screen in between. Now, not so gutsy, right?
Yeah, you don't want to get those wasps, man. You want to start stirring those up. All right, so you got a wasp problem. So we need an exterminator. You love golf. We could do another golf sponsorship. Where are we playing today? Is it a local muni? What do we got?
No, it's a county course. Charleston Springs. They do a nice job in Monmouth County here with their county courses. Hominy Hill and Charleston Springs. They got a north and a south. We're playing Charleston Springs North today. So I've been on vacation since the 3rd down here, and I haven't swung till today, which is the 11th. So it's been more than a week, and I'm a little worried that, because I've been swinging regularly more than I ever have, and this is the longest layoff since I started, back in the late winter of like, I'm really going to swing this year. We'll see how it goes.
Cocktail or beer? What's the choice? Or nothing on the course?
I like to go nothing, but I was actually one of my better rounds recently, and we got to the turn, and I'm like, no, I'm playing well. I'm not going to have a drink. And then I played horribly on the back nine. Not horribly, but I played worse. And my buddy goes, your round turned exactly when you knew it was going to turn, when you said no to the drinks that we all had. I was like, you know what? You're right. So
you got to have at least a couple. I mean, there's a fine balance there, right?
Well, I got to cut out early. I got to drive back. I got to get back here in time to take my wife to dinner. I usually don't like to play in the afternoon. I'm a morning guy, but we're teeing off at 12:42, I think. So we got to be under 4. And if not, I gotta have to cut out on 15, 16, something like that. I got to get back here.
Man.
Which I also hate doing. That's
one of those guys. Are you a cell phone guy talking on your cell phone while you're playing too?
Only when I'm talking to you. How about that?
All right, hey, let's there's I mean, again, we got training camp starting in a couple of weeks. One thing though that has come out for some reason in the last week or so, and I don't really where it started, and if and I don't know if there's any buzz nationally about this, but out here people are real interested that in the last year recently that Jeff Bezos has sold a bunch of stock with Amazon. Yeah. It's almost like $13 billion worth of stock. So speculation now has just run rampant that he wants to buy an NFL team. And of course, an NFL team in his backyard. I know he doesn't live here technically anymore in Seattle, would be the Seahawks. He tried to make a run at the Commanders. I'm not sure if there was any rumors about the Broncos at all, but he has shown a desire to want to own an NFL team. Is there anything there? Have we heard anything about a possible purchase of the Seahawks by Bezos?
But it takes two to tango, right? And all indications are that Jody Allen does not want to sell the team and wants to hang it. She's got the 20-year window or whatever it is to sell the team, and that she's really enjoying the process to this point of being an owner. If you start to guess what rich people are doing and why they're doing what they're doing, he's freeing up money. He must be there's a gazillion reasons for this stuff to happen. I don't, I know his name has come up. Yes, the Washington thing. My sense was Daniel Snyder was never going to sell to him, like over my dead body
and type stuff. And why was that? Was that because of because he owns the Washington Post and they wrote all the stories about him?
That was the rumor. Who knows? There could have been a lot more happening behind the scenes that we don't know about necessarily with their relationship. That was what was being kicked around. Yes. It sounds like he's got an interest in potentially doing that at some point. So who knows? Maybe this is something that's in the offing, and he's looking at it like it could be a multi-year process to get it done.
But the league, I would assume, the NFL's desires to have someone like him own a team and be in the club.
I would think so, right? I mean, they did business with him on the Thursday Night Football deal, and I understand it's not just him; it's a whole organization that Amazon is when you get into the Prime Video and all that stuff. So, they're definitely opening themselves up to, and the whole private equity thing that they've kicked around at the recent owners meetings, as far as allowing people to start to get in the way that they were unable to before. It seems like they're opening themselves up to a bunch of possibilities. Again, we talk all the time. Why are they doing it? Money. Why? Yeah. Money. That's the answer.
They're valued like at $5 billion. I think the Commanders ended up going for $6 billion, which is just an insane amount of money. I was looking at the Forbes evaluations last year. And they had I think the Raiders I think they're top 5, I think like $8-9 billion. And I always wonder this, every time I see him, does Mark Davis have any real money, like actual money?
They have structured their contracts, and they've told agents this, like, we can't do the structure a certain way like other teams do because of cash flow. And it's not to say that they're poor or anything like that. It's just that's the way that they have been operating. And yes, he's got actual money, obviously. I mean, there is income and revenue off of what they're doing with that stadium, and certainly what they've done since he's been the owner of the team. I think he's done a really good job as an owner. I was skeptical at first, but to get the team, that's not easy. To get the team into Vegas and get that move and be a huge part of that process to get that done. What he's done with the organization. Now, the John Gruden thing didn't necessarily work out. There were outside forces at play on that one, but he's he's been able to do a lot more than I thought he was going to be able to do as an owner, and I've been impressed. The winning hasn't translated all the way to the field just yet. We'll see what Antonio Pierce can wind up doing. But, it's cash flow has been an issue for them up to this point under his ownership. So when you say, does he have any actual money? He could pay for dinner at P.F. Chang's. There's no problem there.
Doesn't he drive hours away to the same place to get his hair cut? Where does he go? I forget. Doesn't he drive like 3 hours or something?
Is it that far? I remember the story.
Crazy.
Well, but was he the owner of the Raiders at the time? So maybe he's closer now that he's in Vegas. I don't know.
Why do you have to drive hours Garofolo,
not the owner of the
haircut.
Raiders.
Come on.
Was he the owner in Oakland? Is what I meant at the time. Because he likes the haircut, right? If you like a haircut like that, you obviously like it done a specific way by a specific person, right? You're not gonna catch me to take shots at hair. Okay, you're just not gonna get me to do it.
Does Brady have a piece of the team or not?
Not yet. They're working to get it done.
But can he have a piece of the team and then also be a broadcaster?
That is part of the issue. That is absolutely part of the issue that the NFL has been discussing amongst themselves and with Fox and with the Raiders as well, and with Mark Davis. So that is a piece of the problem right there for sure.
All right, who's the team that should be sold in the NFL? I mean, is it Carolina? Like, who has to be sold? Who needs a new owner?
Listen, David Tepper. It's been a learning process for him. Yeah, you want to see the learning, right? Like, the one thing I do appreciate, or not appreciate, the one thing I think is the right move is when you make a mistake, admit your mistake quickly. He has done that. He's done it a couple of times, but you got to stop making the mistakes, and you got to start to do
mistakes. Yeah.
So he's now gone with a first-time GM. In Dan Morgan, I've known Dan for a long time, a former Seahawks executive, obviously. And John Schneider thought a ton of Dan and Trent Kirchner. He promoted them both together to get them, put them in a position to be general managers elsewhere. Trent has interviewed for GM jobs before. Maybe we'll have one in the near future. He does a really fine job there. And Dan does as well. But he's a first-time GM. And you got a first-time head coach with not a lot of coordinator experience. Again, Dave Canales, again with the Seattle connection. So let's see how this goes. And maybe these guys and the owner can kind of sort of learn some lessons together moving forward.
You think I want to kind of steer the NFL into the NBA world here in a second. They just agreed to a new TV deal on as we record this on Thursday. It's on Wednesday, and it's like what's the final? It's $76 billion over 11 years. Where are we at with the NFL? Is the NFL up anytime soon? And what is that number going to look like if the NBA is $76 billion?
Well, they just did their 10-year deals. It's what's the number going to look like? I mean, Amazon alone was how much? Look that up for me while I'm talking.
NFL deal?
No, the Amazon, just the Thursday night package. Wasn't that $100 billion or something like that? I mean, it was something. It wasn't $100 billion. I'm trying to remember the number on that one. But that was just for the Thursday night games, okay? Let alone if you're part of a broadcast network that's got the entire Sunday slate of games.
It was $1
for
billion
18 weeks.
Let's see. In 2021, it was an 11-year media rights deal, $1 billion a year for just one game.
So it was $11 billion, right? It wasn't $100 billion. It was $11 billion. I mean,
stupid
for one game a week. As opposed to CBS or Fox. Now, CBS and Fox are starting to get a little upset with losing games here and there, right? So they've got to. Yeah. They've gone so far toward making sure Netflix is happy and Prime is happy, and these other folks that have these Saturday games, Peacock, NBC has Sunday games as well. So. The Sunday folks are like, don't forget about us, right? Everything was built on us. We still have more games than everybody else here. So that's been start of the tug and pull there.
It runs through 2033.
Right.
Is the deal. Yeah, all right.
So you're halfway, not even halfway through it, yeah. But they which is why they have to, no, you know what? I'm confusing or conflating, the collective bargaining agreement, the CBA. I think they're about halfway through that one, if I'm not mistaken, which is why, if they want to negotiate that 18th game with the union, they have to kind of do it, not as part of the full collective bargaining negotiations, which are still years away.
So my connection to the NBA one is that they, under this new deal, they basically are going to have an NBA game on every single night on some type of platform. ESPN, with Amazon now, with NBC now being a part of it. How close? Like the NFL sees this stuff and they go, "All right, really? Okay, we'll." Because remember they did it with the Christmas. They interfered with the NBA on Christmas. They don't care. They know if they put any game on, it's going to trump anything that we have. How close do you think we'll get? Soon we'll get where they'll just want a game on every single night.
Well, so I was talking to somebody with the Chiefs recently, and they're playing Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, right? Are they on Christmas, the Chiefs? I'm thinking
is that
Sunday,
fall on
Monday.
a Wednesday?
Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. Yeah, because that was the big thing. Was that were they going to play on a Wednesday with Christmas? And they said, yeah, we're going to play on Wednesday. Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They got the Black Friday game, and Saturday. So they're playing. They're playing 6 of the 7 days.
Hey, thumbs
of the
up
week.
again. You got a thumbs up emoji again.
They're playing 6 of the 7 days. Of the
So
week.
they kind of are already there. But what I guess I'm asking is, you could see a scenario where they do this consistently, where there's a game every night in the NFL.
I think they've already gone there, and yeah. I mean, they'll find their ways, like with the Christmas game, to get on a Wednesday. If there's some other kind of holiday or some kind of mechanism late in the season that allows them to do it. I think more late in the season. You don't want to start to do that early in the season, because then it seems like you also have the flexibility once you bring in bye weeks. Remember, they had that Thursday game with the Seahawks and the Cowboys last year. That was a full week of rest, which I like. I feel like those Thursday games, when they come in late in the season, have allowed for a better quality of game than you see usually throughout the season, because those teams have a full week. So it's like a nice treat where you go, okay, we're not going to see a banged up, tired team. We'll see a little crisper football. And that was an entertaining game. It was a high scoring game, if I recall correctly. I covered that game there in Dallas. So, that to me is like where I don't want to start to get the competitive imbalance, which they seem to not care about, right? Because they started that a couple of years ago with, well, not everybody has to play a Thursday game, and teams can play multiple Thursday games. It's like they got to a point where they go, forget the collective imbalance. We want better matchups on the screen, and also the Thursday night flex and the Monday night flex that they've introduced as well. That they seem to not care about that. They just want they want people to go, oh, I like that matchup. I'm going to tune in for that.
The news coming out this week in the NFL: Cam Sutton suspended without pay for the first 8 games. NFL's personal conduct policy. Any more news to shed on that one? What happened?
Well, what happened? I mean, he had the domestic violence charges that were resolved via a pretrial diversion program. So in the NFL, once you get to either guilty or some kind of plea deal or some kind of anything that you go, okay, we did something, it gives them an opening to say, okay, the legal process is complete. You basically did admit guilt, but you entered into this program. It's a little higher than the 6-game number that they threw out there years ago when they were going through the Ray Rice incident and whatnot. So that tells you that they feels like it was a little bit more excessive. But based on what we first heard with him, with regard to, being on the lam is the way that it sounded at first, to get less than a season, I think was probably a good resolution for him.
Real quick on the 49ers, I'm just curious what your outlook on them this year is, right? Obviously, clearly, it's important here in Seattle because of the rivalry with the Niners. But, Kyle Shanahan's 0-3 now in Super Bowls, 2 as a head coach, 1 as a coordinator. They've got a lot of contracts. They're paying the guys a lot of money. And there's going to be other guys they're going to be coming up eventually. They don't pay the quarterback anything. What's that? We always talk about windows in this league, right? And in all leagues. Yep. What is their window right now?
Still open, right? I mean, it's just they're well coached. They do a good job of putting talent on the field. Here's the other thing that they do. They seem to battle through injuries as well as any team that's out there too, right? Like you can say, well, maybe they're going to get a run of injuries and just completely be wrecked. Well, I don't know if Purdy collides with Joey Bosa on the sideline and both of them go down and like stuff like that starts to happen, fine. But they've done a nice job of really working through the adversity of injuries and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to sit here and go, well, this could be the year where, the wheels start to fall off, because you don't necessarily see that. And Kyle Shanahan does just such a great job of scheming things up and putting guys in a position to succeed. And they do a nice job of matching their personnel with what they do. And Ricky Pearsall, the guy that they drafted, from my understanding, they felt like he could do a lot of stuff that Debo does. So they're already starting to plan for the transition once Debo is starting to wear down a little bit.
When are we? What's our first camp assignment for you? What are you, 2 weeks away? Because Baltimore gets one next week. At least their rookies do.
So their the rookies are in. It's not open to the media, so it's a week of their guys being in. Actually, we're 2 days away. We're 2 days away from these guys reporting. I feel bad for them. They're in like crazy early. They've had a run. See, college players don't stop. They have their season. They go right into draft prep. Then after the draft, they go right into the spring. They finally catch the breath, and then the Ravens are like, "No, come back early." Yeah, I'm going to be in Philly. We do our back together weekend, right, which is our big blowout thing. I think I'm in Philly for the first day and Pittsburgh for the second day, if I'm not mistaken. So those are the first two. That's all that's locked in right now. Now you're going to ask me about Seattle. I have put in the request. Now here's the problem.
There we go.
Hold on, but here's the problem. A couple problems, but I'll give you the big one. Rappaport and Pelissero always want to go to Seattle as well. So I put it in, and my boss goes, "What is the fascination you guys have with this team?" We're like, "It's a great camp. It's a great location. It's a great time of year. You know, we've got buds inside the building, people that we know and we're comfortable with. And plus, it's always like a fun." He's like, "Well, they're not going to be that good." I was like, "Who are you to predict who's going to be good and who's not going to be that good?" Number one, okay, and number two. They've been good for a decade, but like even last year, they fired the coach. They're still a good team. They're still relevant. So I got to kind of see if I can elbow these guys out and see if we can make it happen. But well, I did put in for it. I can tell you that much.
Great. Make it happen. All right. Enjoy your round today. We appreciate the visit. Mike Garofolo brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance and Zogs on Fox Island. Thanks, Mike.
Listen, hopefully you and I are crushing a beer at Zog soon, but we'll see. You know, maybe you could put in a word for me. How about that?
Okay, I'll do that for you. There he is, Mike Garofolo, every Thursday. Again, Hartley and Hartley Insurance, Zogs on Fox Island, right here on Puck Sports and PuckSports.com.